Alice from the Doll Corner, and welcome back to my channel. And today I want to just go over a couple of things I did with my last video. I was going to take a coughing spell, so my allergies started acting up, so I just hurried and closed it off. But after I was looking at it, I thought I didn't really finish it off right, so I was going to do that. Okay, I did 3 rows, and I put my fishing line on each row, and that gives it a nice stiff. Now this bottom row should be bigger, more gathers in it, but I was just using scraps for this demonstration, so I didn't have quite enough fullness in the bottom. But you see how it stands out. And if there was more fullness in it, would even stand out more. So I just wanted to tell you, I put the fishing line on each row and on the bottom. And with that, and then I was showing you how I was sewing using this gold thread. On the original bride dress, it had tiny little sequins in a mother of pearl. And I couldn't find those, so I had to look, and I knew that the sequins would be too big for the doll's dress, so I looked for an alternative, and so I used a thread. And I used, because it had an organza covering over the dress, over the whole dress. It was a bridal satin, and then actually there was a lace, and then there was this organza with all this embroidery work on it, rows and rows of. So I wanted to, and I showed you, but maybe didn't just demonstrate it quite right. With this wash away, if you just take, and now this should be a finer mist, but no, it's not too bad. And I just spray it. Take a fluffy washcloth and see how it comes off. So then you're left with just the organza with the lace, or with the thread. Now this is put through my cording foot with a triple zigzag stitch. Very fine, narrow. I narrowed it right down, and I used very fine thread, almost an invisible thread to go over top. Now I could have used a gold thread, I guess, but I just used the invisible thread, or a real fine thread. So this is sort of the way the whole organza was covering the dress, with all this, only in mother of pearl. Oops, I got a little water on that. So then all the embroidery work, or all the lace, went over top of this in different ways. So my first was to cut my pattern, or my dress out, the skirt pattern out, and then cover it with this thread. And I used gold so it would show up, really show up on the camera. Now to make the dress, the skirt of the dress, I give you a demonstration, I show you in my doll pattern book how that I do this, but just by adding. First of all, I want to make it a round skirt. So then was to make the right size waistline, because there was 2 big pleats here and 2 at the back. And then I thought I can always take a little pleat in, a couple of little pleats on the side if I have it too big, or just ease it in. Well, my waist, for the pleats, I left 4 inches to pleat it. And my waist, half the size of the waist, was here. So half the waist is 4.5 inches, plus 4 big pleats with 1 inch for each pleat. So that give me another 4 inches. So I wanted this to be at least 8.5 inches. But I made it 9 because I thought I can always ease it in or gather it in and it'll never be noticed. So I made it 9 inches, this opening. And this is half of it. So this opening in total would have been 18 inches. And that will make up for the pleats and the easing in that I did on the side and here. And then you see this was, I slit this down the back and hemmed it up along the edge, and then just came down further here and brought it in, and just on a nice little ease up, and it's not noticed, it's not bulky in here at all. So once I had my size of my waistline in the center, then I measured down the distance I wanted for the front of my skirt, and I kept that over to about here. And then I started from there. I just started making it bigger and longer. Now I made this about 5 inches longer at the back than the front. And so here, I could have made it longer because the dress was much longer, but I thought for displaying it in the future, it would be take up more room, and so I didn't make it as big accordingly as the original pattern, original dress. But you get the idea when you see it on the dress, on the doll, that it is, you can, so you see it's this much bigger, longer at the back. So then after I had all my organza embroidered. Then I took that and cut it out on the pattern. I made a skirt. And then I hemmed it, and I showed you how I made a tiny hem on the organza. And I also made one out of the white satin that I was using. This got wet when I sprayed it, and it wants to come off. It wants to mess up. So that's how I made my skirt. And then I set my pleats in here, the size I wanted them, where I wanted them. And brought it in to the size of my waist for the bodice to fit on it. And it worked out pretty good. As you can see, I tried a lot of different folds trying to get my pleats right before I cut my waistline out of it. And then, and it was kind of, it worked out for me. So, if you enjoy some of these tips I'm giving you, subscribe to my channel, touch the bell to be notified, share, give me thumbs up. I always like those thumbs up. And here, and the comments, by all means. And go to my Etsy shop to check out my doll patterns. There's patterns for all sizes of dolls in here and all styles of dolls. So just check them out. And thanks for watching. Bye now.